The story of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's rise to power and his decision to oust Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba is one that reflects deep-rooted frustrations in Burkina Faso. It's a tale of unfulfilled promises, military discontent, and the need for urgent solutions to a country grappling with mounting security challenges. To fully understand the situation, we must dive into the political and security landscape of Burkina Faso and the reasons that pushed Traoré to take such decisive action. Burkina Faso's security crisis. Burkina Faso, like much of the Sahel region, has been plagued by the rising tide of Islamist insurgency for over a decade. Extremist groups, including Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, AQIM, and ISIS-affiliated factions, have been destabilizing northern and eastern Burkina Faso with violent attacks. Civilians, government forces, and even foreign peacekeepers have been targeted in a relentless campaign of terror. The violence has led to the displacement of more than 2 million people, creating one of the worst humanitarian crises in the region. In response to this escalating security situation, the Burkinabé military had grown increasingly frustrated with the civilian leadership's inability to contain the insurgency. This frustration culminated in the military coup of January 2022, when Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba seized power, promising to restore security and bring stability to the nation. Damiba's unfulfilled promises. When Damiba came to power, there was hope among many that he would succeed where his predecessors had failed. As a high-ranking military officer, he was viewed as a competent leader who could effectively tackle the insurgency and restore peace to the country. His initial promise was to restructure the military, increase its capacity, and build partnerships that would help drive out the extremist forces. However, as months passed, the situation did not improve. The attacks on civilians and military personnel continued, and in some areas, they intensified. For many in the military and the general population, it became clear that Damiba's leadership had not brought the promised results. The insurgents continued to control significant parts of the country, and the Burkinabé military was stretched thin, fighting a war on multiple fronts with limited resources and support. Many soldiers on the front lines began to question Damiba's strategies. There was a growing belief that his leadership was too slow and indecisive in responding to the threats. Some critics accused him of being overly reliant on the same strategies that had failed in the past, particularly his close alignment with France, Burkina Faso's former colonial power. Rising anti-French sentiment. One of the key points of dissatisfaction with Damiba's government was his perceived closeness to France. For many in Burkina Faso, France's involvement in the region was seen as ineffective in addressing the security crisis. French troops had been stationed in several West African countries, including Burkina Faso, under the framework of Operation Barkhane, a military operation aimed at combating jihadist groups in the Sahel. However, their presence had not resulted in a significant improvement in the security situation, leading to increasing anti-French sentiment. Captain Ibrahim Traoré and other military officers felt that Burkina Faso needed to explore new alliances and military strategies to deal with the insurgency. They believed that Damiba's failure to break away from France's influence and seek alternative security partners, such as Russia, was a critical flaw in his leadership. In neighboring countries like Mali, Russian military assistance, including the deployment of the Wagner Group, was beginning to have a noticeable impact in pushing back Islamist insurgents. Many within the Burkinabé military looked to these examples as potential models for Burkina Faso's future security strategy. The military's growing discontent. As dissatisfaction grew, so did the murmurs of discontent within the military ranks. Traoré, who was the head of an artillery regiment, became the face of this growing discontent. He represented a faction of younger military officers who believed that more decisive action was needed to confront the country's security challenges. These officers, including Traoré, felt that Damiba had failed to adequately empower the military or address its operational needs. They saw his administration as being out of touch with the realities on the ground. As attacks from insurgents continued to rise, soldiers and junior officers on the front lines began to lose faith in Damiba's ability to lead effectively. For Traoré and others, it became clear that a change in leadership was necessary if Burkina Faso was to have any hope of turning the tide in the battle against extremism. Traoré's coup and promise for change. On September 30th, 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his allies launched a coup, removing Damiba from power. In his first public statement, Traoré outlined the reasons behind his actions, stating that Damiba had failed to restore security and that the military could no longer tolerate his inaction. Traoré positioned himself as the leader who would take a more aggressive and decisive approach to combating the Islamist insurgency. He also made it clear that Burkina Faso would begin to look for new partnerships and strategies to deal with the security crisis. This was a direct reference to exploring alternatives to France, potentially aligning with other powers like Russia, which had been gaining influence in West Africa through military support to regimes fighting similar insurgencies. By removing Damiba, Traoré sought to signal that a new era of leadership had begun in Burkina Faso, one that would prioritize the country's security and sovereignty over foreign interests. If you're enjoying this breakdown of Burkina Faso's political landscape, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We bring you the latest in African leadership and development stories, and we value your thoughts on these crucial issues. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. The future under Traoré's leadership. With Traoré now in power, Burkina Faso faces an uncertain but potentially transformative future. His rise to leadership represents a shift in the military's approach to the security crisis. Traoré has signaled a willingness to explore alternative alliances, particularly with countries like Russia, that have demonstrated an ability to assist other nations in combating terrorism. Many Burkinabé hope that Traoré's leadership will bring the much-needed change that Damiba's regime failed to deliver. However, the challenges remain immense. The Islamist insurgency is deeply entrenched in certain regions of the country, and rebuilding the military's capacity will require significant time, resources, and international cooperation. The key question remains: can Traoré succeed where others have failed? His willingness to break with the status quo and seek new solutions is promising, but he will need to move swiftly to show tangible results in the fight against extremism. If his leadership can bring the security and stability that the people of Burkina Faso so desperately need, he could solidify his place as a transformative figure in the country's history. A call for unity. Traoré's coup has undoubtedly divided opinions, but one thing is clear: Burkina Faso needs unity in this critical time. Whether one supported Damiba or not, the focus now must be on defeating the terrorist groups that threaten the country's future. Traoré has called for national solidarity, emphasizing that the fight against extremism requires a collective effort from both the military and civilians alike. Burkina Faso's future depends on its ability to overcome this existential threat. Traoré's leadership represents a new chapter, but the road ahead will not be easy. The success of his tenure will hinge on his ability to foster a sense of unity among the people, strengthen the military, and build new alliances that can support the fight against terrorism. Join the conversation. What do you think about Traoré's actions? Will his leadership bring the change Burkina Faso needs? Let us know in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep the discussion going. Your support helps us bring more insightful content like this.